Atlanta Braves building up their bullpen. Now it's Robert Suarez, 3 years, 45 million bucks. Jeff Passan breaks it, and then Ken Rosenthal adds that he heard Iglesias will remain the Braves closer, and Robert Suarez will be the setup guy. That could change depending on how things look during the season. Either way, Kratz, that's a nice little 1-2 punch, 8-9. I know Iglesias had his struggles early on in the season, but then he was gangbusters for them down the stretch. They bring him on. I really like Robert Suarez.
Me too. I mean, not many people knew about him until he burst on the scene in 22, when he ended up giving up that home run to Bryce Harper. But he really has a unique set of, how he faces guys. Can he do that? Can he continue to do that with predominantly fastballs, predominantly that late life fastball in the 7th, 8th inning? Todd will tell you the at-bats in the 7th and 8th are not necessarily the same at-bats as in the 9th. And Iglesias, I think, at the end of the year, plus with this contract, earned to be the closer, but there's going to be a nice competition here. And really, I get it. Everybody knows 3 outs are 3 outs, but I'll be interested to see how they really deploy Robert Suarez. Will they deploy him in the 7th if you're facing the Phillies, Schwarber, Harper, Turner in the 7th? Or is he going to be a strict 8th inning guy? It'll be interesting to see what Walt Weiss does.
Yeah, and I think you're totally right on that. I mean, you can say that now. Spring training will dictate that a little bit. Maybe, something happens where it's like, all right, we might use him in this situation or not. You wish kind of more guys were a little more receptive to that kind of thing. Any way to win. And I think this is a monster pickup for the Braves. I think this is a really good pickup. Suarez, his strikeouts were up. His control was down, or was better too last year. I mean, he's a guy, he's a towering figure. To me, at least, it looks like every time he gets on there, he's stoic. He doesn't really change his mindset too much, and he just goes out there and pitches. Whether he does good or not, he points to the Lord, and he just keeps on going. So for him, good for him. 3 years, 45. I thought that was an awesome pickup. Here go the Braves again, man. They are not afraid of going out there and spending and getting some guys. And it seems like it's like, oh, man, they're not the Dodgers spending millions and more million, like double or triple that amount. 45, 30 here and there. They're finding ways to get these guys to come over, and I think this is a really good pickup.
Who do you guys like better, Devin Williams or Robert Suarez? They signed for very close money.
For me right now, I would say Robert Suarez, just knowing on the fact of what last year's performance.
Yeah. Oh, last year's performance. It's a good call. It's not even close. I mean, we have ERA plus, right? And teams look at a lot of things. They're looking at that pitch shape and stuff plus and expected numbers, right? I mean, there have been plenty of guys this offseason, for example, with 4+ ERAs getting a lot of money. Devin Williams is one of them. Robert Suarez has gotten it done with the traditional numbers too, Kratz. I mean, the ERA has been south of 3 back-to-back years, and the ERA plus, park and league adjusted, 144 this past season, 149 the year before.
I disagree. Devin Williams.
Why?
Devin Williams, I get it. The peripherals are there, but what are you looking for in a 9th inning? Are you looking for strikeouts? Clear advantage. What are you looking for in a long-term contract? When I consider 3 years a long-term contract. Devin Williams will be Robert Suarez's age when his contract is over. How is Robert Suarez going to age? What kind of miles did he put on his body banging around the minor leagues, banging around over in Japan till he was 30 when he made it to the big leagues? To me, I'll take, because the money's similar. I know he had a better year. I know Robert Suarez had a better year. But in my opinion, watching Devin Williams, I felt like he was not used correctly. The pitch selection was not used correctly. If the Mets now they have a new pitching coach, but if the Mets can figure that out, I think this will be the better contract.
Let me ask you this though, but he should be in control of his own pitch count. No, if that's what you're saying. I'm not trying to call you out, but him and the catcher 100%. Should be on the same page, right? So that's where it's like, I hear you, but at the same time, it's like, you're in control of these outcomes here, dude. If you don't want to throw your changeup 4 or 5 times in a row, you don't have to. I felt like for him, And Kratz, I'll let you get your point. I felt like his fastball wasn't there last year, in my opinion. And it made that changeup look a little bit weaker because now, all right, if you're not throwing strikes with the fastball, I'm going to sit on that changeup.
He threw 10% more changeups. You have to establish your fastball no matter what. Like, I get it. His changeup is Bugs Bunny. It has the highest spin of any changeup. Like, guys don't see it. But it's like we always talk about with Tommy Kahnle. You can't just keep throwing it. Oh, wait, you can. But it's something that when you pop that 95, when you're able to touch that 97, I think there's part of it, a new area, and you are 100% right. I am not saying that he said, oh, the pitch calling was incorrect. But when you go to an organization like the Yankees, when you go to an organization like the Rays, I'm trying to think of other pitching prowess teams, like you want to believe, hey, you know what? They're going to unlock some stuff. You want to believe that, okay, I hear what you're saying. My pitch, my changeup, that's my pitch. It's the GOAT. It's gotten me to where I am. I can use it more. Okay, I will. I'll trust you. Mm-hmm. At some point, you make the choice. And every time he grips that ball, he's making the choice. Whether he's just like, yeah, sure, I'll throw a changeup. Yeah, sure, I'll throw a changeup.
Yeah.
He's making that choice. I'm just saying, I think not everybody is built the exact same way that their pitch is what is going to, like, ultimately go to it. I just don't think that's always the case.
And one has a better fastball, one has a better changeup, Todd Father. I mean, that's clear cut, right? Devin Williams is known for his changeup. Suarez is known for his fastball. You're trying to just get to it and use it as much as possible, but I'll take the heater.
Yeah, because you have to – if you're not establishing your fastball, then as a professional, if you can't find it, like I said before, if you can't find that for a strike or you're not throwing as often, I know I'm getting at least two changeups. Still hard to hit. I'm not saying Devin Williams is a bad pitcher. I hope people understand. I think he's a really, really good pitcher. I just think the fastball wasn't ultimately there last year. And when you take away a pitch from professional pitchers, and then the next one is usually their best pitch, I'm going to take my chances all day and know that I'm going to get at least two of those changeups if I work the count right.
Fan question. Buddy said, love it. Do you think we need one more bullpen arm or get a starter and put Holmes or Reynolds in the bullpen? I think they might sign a bullpen arm, but it's not going to be anything close to high leverage. They've got the high leverage taken care of, and now you can mix and match and see if you can find value for a middle relief / setup guy. That would be my answer for now, Kratz. We'll see what happens with Lopez and how he looks heading into spring training. I could see a world where he ends up shifting back to the bullpen. I think Holmes is a starter, and apparently Holmes is in a really good spot already this offseason. I think they're going to keep churning him to be a starter. That's just my take. We can get some Braves expert analysis on Hammer territory and for our Hammer guys, but I think it's safe to say they're not also going to sign Pete Fairbanks. Do I think they should? Yes. I'm the biggest believer in super bullpens for what it does during the season. And then, of course, in the postseason, and it gives you insurance in case one of these guys has a bad year. That stuff happens all the time too.
Or you just are dominant. Like, I'm not saying I was at the genesis of super bullpens, but the 2014 bullpen where we went and for the Royals and we went and lost Game 7 of the World Series, that's a good problem to have. You know what happened the next year? Dudes get hurt. Other guys have to step in. So, yeah, of course, you want to see the Braves go and get somebody else if you're a Braves fan. But one thing I think organizations need to continue to know what their superpower is. I'm talking back since I started watching baseball. The Braves have produced pitching. The Braves have produced starting pitching. Now they're still producing starting pitching. Look at Holmes. Look at Waldrop. Look at Smith-Shawver. Look at Ian Anderson in their run back in when they won the World Series in 2021. They produced starting pitching. And nowadays, when you're producing starting pitching, you're not producing dudes that are just throwing like little cutter, sinker, all this stuff. I forgot Schwellenbach. You're producing dudes that throw hard. They can transition those guys to the locations in the bullpen that to me, I think they need from now on. And that's why the Braves are really set up, because they always produce some type of young pitching to come up.
And I think Suarez, because he was such a late bloomer, is still evolving more so than most relievers at his age. Of course, you've got to maintain the fastball velo at a high level when you're so fastball reliant, but he almost doubled his changeup usage last year. It's not a great pitch for him. It's all about the four seam and the two seam, but to offer a different look, I think was important. That was kind of the scouting report on how he can get a little better in 25, and he was able to maintain the results. Also, keep in mind, a lot of the blip came when there was a tip situation, right? The famous picture/video last year with the Red Sox and the tablet, and I think it was Cora in the dugout showing the difference in the pre-pitch setup with the fastball and the changeup, and it sounded like teams were on that, and the report came out. Padres are like, yeah, obviously we already know about this. Sounds like they fixed it. So just throwing that out there. Remember that?
I want somebody to come out one time and be like, no, we had no idea. Thank you, ESPN, Apple TV, for getting that shot. Whoever it was that got the shot, like, no, I had no idea. Like, don't ever let me be a big league manager. I will play some games like that and be like, are you guys kidding?
I would love that. I would die for those post-game interviews with Todd Father, where Kratz is like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they picked that up for us. Guys, I'm going to have to be quick on this press conference today because I have to go talk to our team about how to fix this tip that we already have known about for 3 weeks, and our team's been working with him on every bullpen session. But just throwing it out there for numbers purposes. Point is, I'm a big fan of Robert Suarez. I do want to get quickly to Mike Yastrzemski. The name is well known, but also the player's been really solid and consistent for years now, and he signs up with the Braves. That one was last night. So while we're on the topic, you get Mike Yastrzemski added to the mix, and it gives them a lot of flexibility. And here's someone who had a really nice season. It's 2 years, $23 million, so that takes it through 2027. There's a club option for 2028 that's either $7 million or a $4 million buyout, which essentially means if he's still cranking pretty good, you're going to take that because it's only a $3 million difference. So it almost to me looks like a 3-year deal for $30 million for him. Mm-hmm. So I give them a lot of credit for adding someone that I think will give them flexibility. And we don't know what Sean Murphy's going to look like when he first comes back. So assuming Drake Baldwin's the catcher, you've got, hopefully for Brave purposes, Dubon and Yastrzemski that can give them flexibility even as bats off the bench too, right? One hits lefties really well, one hits righties really well, and opens up some DH time for guys like Olsen and Riley. I think they want to start to mix those guys in with a little more DH time if possible so that they can get, in their mind, better offensive production and not be rolling out the 160 games for everybody in the field.
Olsen's not coming out. Olsen wants to play every single day. That dude's got one.
Give me a DH once a month.
No, I think it's your boy. No. I think it's your boy who's in right field. I think it's Acuna. I think you understand that he probably wants to be out there every day too. But that DH spot, you don't want to put Acuna at DH and then run out what they've run out the last few years. They've tried. Obviously, they had to bounce. You know, they had to really figure it out with Kelnick. Eli White was filling in like different spots, and then they got Profar last year. Look what happened with that. Like you understand that your superstars in the outfield position need to have some, maybe some days where he gets off his feet and DHs. Maybe Acuna doesn't like it, and maybe I'm completely wrong. But the issue with Yaz is if you're not playing him every day, which I get it, they won't. He's 35. So what does that look like for him? What does that look like? How does he stay ready? Because to me, I think there's not every day at bats for him. And until certain things shake out this offseason, I like the signing because he's a very productive bat. He's a good piece, and I think they got a good number for him. But I'm just wondering where at 35 he's going to get his everyday at bats, and maybe they think, hey, we're good with paying $14 million for 350 at bats.
Well, it's $10 million a year essentially if you're looking at a 3-year deal, right? And even if it's 2, it's what, 11 and change, something like that. If you're taking that number, and they need depth. They've dealt with a lot of injuries. Profar also can do a little DH time. I mean, Yastrzemski's going to hit against right-handed pitching, and he's going to, for the most part, sit against left-handed pitching these days, right? So that's your flexibility. You have him off the bench. Reliever comes in, boom, big at bat for Yaz. I think these are depth moves. The Braves are like, we have money. We can spend on a guy who's like a 3.5 outfielder, right? He's not going to start every day. Dubon, he's not going to start every day. Hopefully, if they land their shortstop, which I still think could be someone like Kim. So anyway, I really like it from a depth perspective for Atlanta. These are two really good moves in my mind. Atlanta is going to be a force again next year. They're going to be a pain in the ass in the NL East. In my mind, I don't know how you guys feel, but you get Acuna full season, the whole deal. So good start to the offseason for the Atlanta Braves.